Hey guys, Chris the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my nightmare. I am getting things out of my emergency storage shed on a regular basis. Once a week at least, sometimes a bonus item. I'm also unboxing things at the shop from the storeroom there. I am occasionally doing repair jobs, and I've usually got 2 or 3 restorations kind of on the go at the same time. On top of that, I actually run a business. I run a shop, and Christine and I like to do normal things occasionally. I need to get this shed sorted out, and it's been neglected because of all these other things I want to keep myself doing. Now's the time to try and get something out of the back of this room here. Over in the corner, you probably can't see it, kind of there. There's a sandblasting cabinet that I bought last year. I've only used it once. There's a new air compressor under the bench in the corner that I've only really used a couple of times. I need to get my workshop back functional. And most of you who've been following my channel know last year was a big event with having to move all the stuff from my 20 years residence at my old shop, plus shoulder surgery. It's all been going on. But I'm trying to rise to the challenge. I'm trying to do all these things and keep them all ticking along. I know you guys are enjoying it, and it's keeping me motivated. Today, we're going to unbox some stuff from over in this corner and just sort it out. There might be some scrap metal. There might be some stock for the shop. Let's have a look and see what we find. Now, believe it or not, I do like to have a neat, organised and tidy shed, but look, things just got on top of me, as you can imagine, with the year we had last year. So I'm trying to make some sense of it. I know I'll be a lot more efficient once I get the workbench operational. I still need to set up things like grinding, bench grinders. I've got a buffing wheel on a grinder, and all I've been using is a wire wheel and my drill. So I need to get in here, have access again to that sandblaster, because I've got some projects on the go that need that. Also, I'd like to use my air compressor, and I think you can just spot it under there. So today, we have a spare afternoon, well, kind of spare. Let's get that large jam pot and whatever is in it, and maybe the box underneath, and we'll sort those out. We'll deal with the stuff, we'll make decisions, and we'll make a little bit more space towards a tidy workshop. Oh, God, I can't even get to it. Okay, here we go. Let's get this on the bench. Oh, my foot's dark. Oh, okay. I don't want you guys to witness the next event that sends me off for a shoulder surgery or something. Let's get the other box while I can. Oh, there's bloody chainsaws on the floor. Oh, this one's a bit heavier. For those wondering, my shoulder has come good. I'm still doing physio every morning. It's been about 7 months, but it's really good. I'm very happy with it. This looks interesting. Let's dive in. Okay, same story applies to this stuff as with most of my stuff. I don't know where it came from. Most of it was in the shed at the back of the shop and in the yard. This is an old baker's tray, you know, where they made little loaves of bread. I get them. Sometimes they have more. They have like 3 or 4. Sometimes they're longer. It's for a high top loaf of bread in the old days. I don't know what they use these days. Probably something a little bit more hygienic than just steel. I'm sure they'd be at least stainless steel. They're good for gardeners. They sell well as just little, you know, garden features, pot plants, something along those lines. I'll easily get $10 for that without any cleaning. The rust actually adds to its appeal. So there's $10. There's not much in this pot, so we'll go through this pretty quickly. This is like a dustpan. They sell okay. It's a little bit wonky in the handle. We could easily just crimp the handle up there, maybe put a larger nail or a screw in there. $5. It's old school. People use them for shoveling out ash out of their wood burners or something like that. So I reckon we'll just put 5 on that. As it is, someone else can clean it up and fix the loose handle. That'll do. $5. Now we have an old timber box of some sort. It's got a lid which isn't attached. That's actually kind of a nice box. It's a bit weathered. Nails need rehammering. And the screws, yeah, I think it was the hinges were just nailed in maybe. Oh no, they were screwed, but the hinges are well and truly rusted solid. So I think I'll just sell this. What I'm going to do is I'll take this out on the lawn and just wash it. I'll hammer the nails back in. I like to re-nail boxes when they're wet, when the timber's well and truly soaked, because there's less chance of it splitting. So we'll just re-nail it, maybe put another extra couple of nails in. But we'll leave the lid unattached, and someone else can either just use it as they are or as it is, or just fix it themselves. I don't want to waste time on it, but I reckon I'd get $10 for it just washed up. And the only other thing in this pan is an old cricket ball. All the stitching's come undone. It's a very early one, but I don't think it's of any value at all. We'll give that one to Coco. She'll love to chase that around the yard. Hey Coco, look, I found a ball. Ball? Well, don't rush. Where's the ball? That's a cricket ball. You haven't seen one of those before, have you? Look. Now we're right. And guess who's coming? There's no show without punch. And this is known as a jam pot. It's a large boiling pot. This one's aluminium. You can get them in copper. And of course you can get boilers in cast iron and just normal enamelled steel. It's probably just only a garden one, this one. There's no holes in it, but it's not nice enough to use as an ornament inside. It's quite dented on the base. And as I said, it's just aluminium. It's got the original handle on it, which is pretty cool. Again, while I've got the hose going on the lawn, I'll just wash it out. And, you know, 15, maybe even 20, just as a garden planter. So I've got a couple of things to wash. All right, let's look at this box. Well, for a start, here's a set of scales. These are called steel yard scales. They're like a balance scale, and I think they were used for, hang on, which way does that go? Let me get this sorted. Something like that. They're a balance scale. They sell quite well. Look, I might as well wash these up with a hose while we're out there. They're just pretty dusty, but otherwise, that's all I'm going to do with them. I'm not sure if I've got this set up right. Hang on, let's have a better look. Okay, I thought it looked a bit odd. It's actually broken. I need to weld them up. That part is supposed to be one piece. And then the weight slides along this bar where my thumb is. I've just taken it off because it's easier to hold up for you guys. So that needs to be welded back on there. The top hook hangs off an anchor point, and the other hooks can hang on, well, whatever you want to weigh, and then it pivots according to how much weight you slide along this bar to give you a balance. The bar is marked with graduations, and I think it probably measures in hundredweight, which was an old, I can't read it actually, an old measuring system. I think 100weight is 112 pounds. I'm only guessing there. I'll correct that if I'm wrong. But I need to weld that up. Value-wise, fixed up, these should probably, hanging up in the shop, should probably get about $75. Righto, what else we got in here? This is familiar. Oh, Jesus, rusty. I used to use this when I had my small engine repair shop years ago. And it's basically an engineer's type tool for checking how true a shaft is. And I'd have like a crankshaft in a little frame that I could spin it, and you could just adjust this point, still moves, right up against the metal, and you would see if it's perfectly true or if it's touching on one spot. I didn't really use it a lot. I think I found it in a box from an auction years ago, but it's handy for that sort of work. Now, if I get into more metalwork later on and get myself a lathe and learn a bit of engineering, I may well need that. So I think that's something that I will clean up and keep for now as a future useful tool. Value-wise, look, it's not in very good condition. Well, it would probably clean up okay. Everything seems to still move. I don't know what it's worth. Cleaned up, maybe $20, $30. But I think I'll I'll put that aside and I'll clean that up at some stage for my own use. Okay, just a bit of plastic here. What was in this? It looks like we had some wood bolts. I've got a jar for those. There's more in the bottom of the box I can see. That has been affected by the sun, so that's just rubbish. I think some of this stuff came from my original mechanic shop, actually. I used to use this for spraying degreaser on old engines before I washed them down with a pressure washer. So you would connect that to your air line of your air compressor, and it's basically a Venturi system that sucks the degreaser fluid or soap or whatever you want to spray over something. And you've got one trigger just for a blast of air, and the other trigger, I think if I remember correctly, used to inject the soap, so or degreaser or whatever you're pumping through it. So that was a useful item, and it may well have a use here in the future once I get my workshop more operational. So I know I wasn't going to keep things for the sake of keeping them, but both this and the last one will be handy tools in the future. Does need to clean up again, of course. Looks like we have some gate hardware here. I think I'll group all this up for the shop. We can probably sell, that's probably where the wood bolts came from. Well, I'll put the bolts in a separate jar because they sell quite well on their own. I'll group all the rest of this as gate hardware and put that in the shop. We have a random handle. It's probably off a sprayer, but it would work as a file handle. But I do use these handles sometimes for restoring things like old mincers and things that you crank, because it's pretty easy just to drill a hole through them or thread them on. So that's a nice vintage handle, and the little bit of wear to the green paint really looks the part. So I will use that on a project down the track. Here we have a trailer socket that will probably just go to the shop for say $5. I don't need one of those. This is the hanging weights part of an old scales set, like a platform scales for like wool bales. We've got one on our deck actually. They're actually pretty hard to find, these, and the weights that have the slot out of them that slip on here are a bit hard to find as well. I'll actually see if this suits our scales, and we might keep it as a spare set. Now this is a drum pump. It would have just screwed into about a 20-litre drum, or would have been in gallons back then. What's that, maybe 5 gallons. It's pretty rusty. No one's going to use this again for pumping anything through that they want clean. It might have been used for kerosene or even oil. I think I'll just scrap that. The top part's quite heavy die cast, which can go with our cast aluminium. Doesn't look like there's any brass in it. No, we won't scrap it because it's only a matter of cents for scrap. I think we'll put that in the shop for $5. An old drum pump. Here we have a gas spring. Still got the tap on it too. And they're handy when you're making up big boiling pots for cooking yabbies. Now, I don't know what you call them overseas, but we have like your freshwater crayfish, I guess they're like. And they're a bit of a delicacy around here in the country. We used to go catching them in dams and boil them up and have them. I used to like them cold out of the fridge with vinegar. So that'll sell. Someone will use that for some purpose. It's a cast iron piece. Nothing really goes wrong with these things, so we'll probably get 10 on that. I might just give it a quick wash up. We have some electrical fittings. We had a box of those just the other day. That switch feels alright. Light fitting, which I keep. Oh, there's the cover plate for the switch. So I've got a heap of these in another box. I'll put it aside for now, and we might make up a box lot of these. That's an architrave switch, just goes beside the door. It's Bakelite. It's probably 1940s, maybe 50s. So we'll put that with our other electrical fittings. A piece of rope. This looks like a starter rope from an old engine. The rope's really not much good, but I will keep the handle. Oh no, it's not timber, it's a plastic handle. Yeah. Still, I've got to restore an old rotary hoe, and I think I need a separate rope and handle. So the handle, much easier to pull on that than to wrap your hand around the rope. and cause broken fingers that way, especially if the engine backfires. So yeah, we'll keep that handle. The rope can go in the rubbish. A spray gun. I don't know if this one's any good. I don't think I used to use this one. But it's an Arnold brand, which were a pretty good brand, I think. So we might clean that one up and see if it works. It's probably saleable anyway. I don't know, $10, $20. But it might be one that I could use here now that I've got a good air compressor. Yeah, it's nice and clean inside. Might need some new O-rings or something in there, but that might be one we can fix up and use. Righto, more wood bolts. And the washers to go with them. Another gate fitting. Another trailer plug. That one looks pretty good actually. $5 again. Okay, no wildlife. This is an old starter switch from some sort of industrial motor. We've got a stop and a start. And I do like the steampunk look of these. It's even got a brass plaque. Well, it's not brass, but it's got some sort of plaque on there. That one is going to find a use in my shed, whether it's just purely to turn lights on. Actually, I know what I'm going to use that for. I'm going to do a project with a red flashing light for outside the shed to warn others when I'm filming for YouTube. And I'm going to restore the flashing light as a video, and this is going to be my switch. I'm sure I can work it. Good. I'll add that to that project down the track. Last box in here is just a little box of fittings. We'll go through that in a tick and see what's in here. Let's get this box out of the road. The timber box itself, it's pretty rough. It did have some advertising on it. Looks like it was nails, perhaps. And old boxes do sell. Oh, it's got some borer in it. Now, borer or woodworm leave all these little holes. It looks like it's had a blast with a shotgun. If they're still alive, you'll get fresh dust when you tap it. So they're not actually in there. But I find it really hard to sell anything in the shop with borer holes. People just don't want to go anywhere near it. So because the box isn't anything flash anyway, I'll just put that in the firewood pile. Right, I've just tipped this little box of various fittings out. I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. They appear to be mostly spray gun fittings. They're mostly brass. There's a nice old tap, which might be handy for something. There's some fittings that look like they're possibly off oxyacetylene hose, and they'll just be brass fittings. There were a couple of steel fittings. I'm not sure what they're from. They look like nozzles as well. And there's just some old cardboard. Obviously the boxes, they can go in my firewood box for next time I'm starting the fire. The nights are starting to get chilly, so it'll probably happen soon. What am I going to do with this stuff? Well, there's a bit of old hose that's clearly just rubbish. So with this plastic container, I think I'll scrap all this. I think I'll put it all in the brass bin. They can just go in the steel bin. And with the paint spray gun, I've decided just to sell it as is. Look, it doesn't have a fitting here. It looks like it's clogged up or something, or it's broken off. I'm just going to put it in the shop for $10 and someone can buy it and take a punt with it. They might be able to fix it up. There's a bit of brass and cast alloy and aluminium, but I'm not going to scrap it out. I reckon I can get $10 for it as it is. I don't think I'm going to worry about putting the other nozzles with it. We'll just scrap them for brass. This can go in the shop for $10. And when I get ready to do some spray painting, which might be a long way down the track, but I'm just going to buy myself a good spray gun. And I probably won't need something this large anyway. Maybe just one of those small airbrush guns would be suitable for what I need. And a bonus 10 points to those that thought, why don't you repair the box? Hinges are easy to do. Well, I can't help myself. I thought I'd fix it. One of the screws actually turned off. They were that badly rusted. And these brass hinges will probably look okay. They're a little bit larger than I would like, but they'll make it a pretty cool looking box. And for the sake of 5 minutes work, we're going to get a lot more for it. I washed it up. It looks pretty good. I like the way that they used timber from various packing crates to make it. And even on the bottom panel, look at that. It's a shame we didn't have the box complete. Imperial beef steak, what? Beef steak pudding, perhaps? Was there such a thing? It's kind of a shame that's on the bottom. But anyway, we'll put these brass hinges on, and then I reckon we can get at least 20 for the box now. Okay, that's a little bit over the top with those hinges. They're a bit too big for the box, but again, I need to clean up because I can't find my box of old hinges. I would have probably preferred just rusty ones that were usable, but brass it is. And there we go. We can now class that as a $20 box with a little original latch. Little carry box. How's that? Pretty good. And you'll notice there's no dodginess going on here. Original early flathead screws. I have a whole collection of early new old stock Nettleford's English made, I think they were, wood screws. Got a whole drawer full of them, which is great for projects when you want that original look. Okay, time to wrap up this video and have a look at the notepad and distribute things to their respective containers, which I actually kind of enjoy. I'm not sure if you guys are enjoying that, but I like putting things where they go and showing you it's kind of a sense of satisfaction. So how much value did we get here? Well, here's the list of stuff I'm taking to the shop. Pretty well as mentioned throughout the video, the steelyard scales, just pretend they're welded. They're not yet. I have to dig my welder out and do that, but it won't take long to do. Everything else there as mentioned. The spray gun, yes, I decided to sell that. So I'm making decisions as I go, and sometimes I'm correcting myself. The total, $170. And I think they're very achievable prices. We also have to add to that small pile of brass. There's about $4.50 worth of brass there. We have, I'm keeping that stuff, so that's extra value. I'll touch on that in a minute. A little bit of steel to go in my heavy melt steel. That's fittings going with my lamp stuff. That one, I don't use these. That can go to the e-waste. And this light switch, I do have more of those to dig out, so I'll put that aside for now. But I'm not writing any value down for those. This is all the stuff I'm taking to the shop, as I've mentioned. So extra value, well, these things I'm keeping, and I have a definite use for them all, or they're going to be future projects, and I know I'll need them. And I'll keep a bit of hardware here. I do use these bolts when I'm making things in the garden. I've estimated around about $50 for that stuff there. I reckon maybe 20 for this if it was fixed up, 10 for that gun, probably 10 for that switch. 5 definitely for that little brass tap. That's a really nice old one. I like that. Oh, I checked out this. I've remembered that I've actually got one of these platform scales from the farm, and I think it's one of the early ones from our property that needs restoring, and I'm pretty sure that's the hanger for it. So I'm keeping that. Those two I've talked about. So about $50 worth of useful stuff and a bit of brass. That takes us to over 200. What's that? 220. Pretty good value out of this. And now we get to distribute stuff to its respective containers. Let's start with the rubbish. This is all we had. The piece of rope, the old hard hose off the sprayer, the bit of plastic, and a small bit of hose and a plastic container. So that's all that's going to the tip. A little bit of old cardboard can light my fire next time we light it. My clean brass in here. The bucket's actually starting to get full. The bucket's outside for the heavy melt steel. A tin here for the wood bolts. Might have to get a bigger tin. The Bakelite electrical bin. And the lamp parts. And the e-waste. And some washers go in here. The stuff I'm keeping does present a bit of a problem. I have to store it somewhere. I'm going to put that switch with the red light that I've got to fix up. And I do have a tin for brass taps, but I just can't find it at the moment. So that'll just probably go on the workbench for the moment until I can find a spot for it. The rest of it I'm packing up for the shop, and I'll price it tomorrow and put it on display. Oh, and I do have my welding job. That might have to be next week. So guys, thanks for watching another unboxing, a little bit more stuff out of my shed. I'm pleased I made a bit of a start on getting to my air compressor and the sandblaster cabinet, because I've got some jobs I need to finish off some restoration jobs I started months and months back, and then my shoulder happened and everything else. So I need to get this workshop more productive. So I'll get back to it soon. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Bye for now.